Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This Saturday is UFC London, and in the featured fight on the main card, we have Paddy Pimblett versus Jordan Leavitt, and this is going to be my full breakdown and prediction for this interesting lightweight fight. And I've already done prediction videos for the main event, Curtis Blaydes versus Tom Aspinall, as well as the co-main event, Jack Hermansson versus Chris Curtis. I will link both those prediction videos down in the description if you want to go check them out after this. But this lightweight fight on the main card is actually a massive fight for both guys' career. You have Paddy Pimblett, who I know some people are saying he's overrated. I don't really necessarily think he's overrated, because there's not a lot of people saying, oh, he's going to be champion one day. But there's no doubt a lot of hype behind him, and a lot of people are excited to see him. And, he has an interesting personality, and he's kind of a character. But if he loses this fight, I think all that hype is going to disappear. I get it. He's on a 2-fight win streak in the UFC. He's had 2 arguably come from behind victories where he got stoppages in the first round. And, he's just an interesting guy on the mic in his post-fight interviews. And a lot of people like Paddy Pimblett. But if you go out there and lose to Jordan Leavitt, people have to have at least the, thought that you can potentially do something in the future. And if he loses to Jordan Leavitt, Paddy Pimblett is going to have no relevance within the lightweight division. I mean, how long will it take for him to get back into the position he is in now? People are very interested to see him fight. And if he loses, I just don't think that interest is still going to be there. And also in this fight, a lot of people are talking about it. If Jordan Leavitt wins, he's going to twerk on Paddy Pimblett's corpse. And apparently Paddy Pimblett has been saying, I'm going to teabag Jordan Leavitt if I win. So you got that on top of it. I mean, I know a lot of people have been saying, can you imagine, since the fight was announced, can you imagine if Jordan Leavitt somehow finishes Paddy Pimblett and twerks on him in London? That would be absolute insanity. And also Jordan Leavitt, he's not really well known. If he goes out there and ends the hype train of Paddy Pimblett, it's going to do something for him. People are going to remember his name in his next fight. I'm not saying he's going to become a massive star, but, it's going to be important to his UFC career. He will be remembered as the guy who defeated Paddy Pimblett. And for Paddy Pimblett, if he wins this fight, I really believe if Paddy Pimblett can continue to win, not just Jordan Leavitt, but maybe move up the ranks a little bit, I think Paddy Pimblett will become a massive star for the UFC, and arguably still is. I mean, there was some talk about his pay after his last fight. The UFC should be paying this guy. He's definitely selling tickets for the UFC. So if you look at the tail of the tape for this fight, you have Paddy Pimblett, who's 27 years old. Jordan Leavitt is 27 years old. Paddy Pimblett is 5'10". Jordan Leavitt is 5'9". Paddy Pimblett has a 73-inch reach, and Jordan Leavitt has a 71-inch reach. So a slight height and reach advantage for Paddy Pimblett. If you look at Paddy Pimblett's UFC career, he has 2 wins in the UFC. His UFC debut was in September of last year against Luigi Vendramini. And this fight was a fight that a lot of people thought that Paddy Pimblett got exposed. He lost the majority of this fight, and he got rocked multiple times in this fight. And then he just pushed through it. He was able to survive. And then he cracks Luigi Vendramini and just swarms him with vicious combinations to get the finish at the tail end of the first round, knocks him out. It was more of like a standing. No, I actually think he went down. It was like partially a standing TKO, but then he kind of went down. I think he was out. And this was a crazy win because not only did he knock him out, he came from behind. He was losing the majority of that first round, getting outstruck, being defensively irresponsible, chin up in the air, and then he comes back to win. Insanity. And then his most recent fight against Rodrigo Vargas, that was back in March of this year at the last UFC London event. And this fight, was kind of similar to the first fight against Luigi Vendramini. He got rocked early. I guess rocked is probably strong. I think he just got stung. I don't think he was hurt badly. Went to the ground. Rodrigo Vargas followed him down, landed some shots on the ground. Eventually works his way back to his feet. Rodrigo Vargas keeps engaging in the clinch, and then he gets hip tossed to the ground, gives up his back, and Paddy Pimblett locks in a rear naked choke, wins again in the first round. And you look at his resume in general and his MMA resume, he has 21 pro MMA fights, 18 wins, 3 losses. His last loss was all the way back in 2018 in Cage Warriors. And he's on a 4-fight win streak. And not only a 4-fight win streak, he has gotten all those wins via first-round stoppage. TKO back in 2020, a submission back in 2021, and then obviously the 2 UFC wins that I've already went over. You look at Jordan Leavitt, his pro MMA career, He's 10-1. He has 11 pro fights. He hasn't fought the best competition. He came off of Dana White's Contender Series. He has 4 fights in the UFC if you don't include Dana White's Contender Series, but hasn't fought the greatest competition. I'm not saying Paddy Pimblett has, because Paddy Pimblett hasn't either, the competition there. But I guess it makes sense. He just entered the UFC, and this is an incremental step up for Paddy Pimblett against Jordan Leavitt. But you look at Jordan Leavitt, his last win was against Trey Ogden via split decision, close competitive fight. The fight before that, he defeated Matt Sales. That was in December of last year. He submitted him via inverted triangle, and Jordan Leavitt has very good submissions. And in this fight, basically Matt Sales was thinking he could take him down, control him on the ground. He got a little bit too comfortable, kept engaging, and got submitted via inverted triangle. The fight before that, he lost to Claudio Puelles, and this isn't a bad loss to have, and he only lost by decision. This guy is very good with jiu-jitsu, has very great submission skills. And, Jordan Leavitt engaged with him on the ground. There was a lot of scrambles. And basically in this fight, Jordan Leavitt just got out scrambled. There was a couple times, Puelles was looking for a submission. He was unable to get it. So it showed Jordan Leavitt had good submission defense. The fight before that was his best win in his entire UFC career. Not based on opponent, but just the way he did it. That was the slam against Matt Wiman where he slammed him down and KO'd him. But again, look at the names of some of these opponents. I'm not saying Paddy Pimblett's opponents are any better, but still not the greatest of competition. If you look at his 10 wins, he has 1 by knockout, 6 by submission, and 3 by decision. So he majority wins by submission. You look at Paddy Pimblett, it's kind of similar situation, 6 by knockout, 8 by submission, 4 by decision. So both of these guys like to win their fights by submission. When it comes to breaking down this fight, I actually think these guys are very similar fighters. I think both guys, a lot of people think Paddy Pimblett is some crazy striker. Paddy Pimblett is primarily a grappler. He wants to take you down, he wants to beat you up, and he wants to submit you. That's what Paddy Pimblett wants to do. But since he started in the UFC, I guess he's been looking for knockouts, and supposedly he wants to knock Jordan Leavitt out as well. I don't know if that's just talk or, that's something he actually plans on doing. But, both guys are very similar. They have sloppy stand-up. They both want to take you down and beat you up on the ground and submit you. Both guys are better grapplers than they are strikers. Both guys striking leaves a lot to be desired. Jordan Leavitt does not have good striking at all. It's improving. It's definitely improved, but it's just not good. It's sloppy. He's kind of defensively responsible. He always has his hand tucked up at his chin. He's not, where Paddy Pimblett kind of has his hands down low. He'll be backing up with his chin straight up in the air. If I had to give an advantage in the striking, I'd maybe give it to Paddy a little bit. I also think he has way more power than Jordan Leavitt. Jordan Leavitt has 1 knockout in his entire MMA career. And the striking just doesn't really look powerful at all. I just really have a hard time seeing Jordan Leavitt KO Paddy Pimblett, because the knock on Paddy Pimblett is the sloppy striking, the backing up with the chin straight up in the air, the getting clipped. I honestly believe the UFC looked at these last 2 opponents, Luigi Vendramini, Rodrigo Vargas. They saw that Paddy Pimblett was hurt by them, and they said, you know what? Who can we book him against who's a slight step up, but at the same time, the chances are they're not going to knock Paddy Pimblett out. And that was Jordan Leavitt. Jordan Leavitt doesn't really have any power. And when I look at avenues to victory for both guys, I could see Paddy Pimblett winning all 3 ways. I could see him winning by TKO, KO. I could see him winning by submission. I think that's doubtful. That one's doubtful. There's a very small chance he wins by submission. Or I could see him winning by decision. For Jordan Leavitt, I could see him winning by pretty much submission or decision. I think the submission's kind of unlikely too. So if Jordan Leavitt wins this fight, I think he probably wins it by decision. As far as my official prediction, and I feel like this is a tough fight to pick, honestly. I don't feel like this is an easy fight where you can go, oh, Paddy Pimblett's definitely going to win, or Jordan Leavitt's definitely going to win, because I think that Jordan Leavitt is a decent fighter. Obviously he's not top 15 ranked, or probably not even top 25 ranked, but he's still a decent fighter. I am going to go with Paddy Pimblett by decision. And the reason I'm going with Paddy Pimblett, I just think Jordan Leavitt's too slow on the feet. I think he has no power. And I think Paddy Pimblett is a dynamic kicker. I think the most compliment you can give of his striking game is his kicks. He has good leg kicks. He has good high kicks. He has power in both his hands, power in both of his legs. And I think that Jordan Leavitt is just defensively responsible enough where he's going to get clipped up, he's going to get damaged, but I think he can absorb the damage and survive against Paddy Pimblett. And I think each round is going to be Jordan Leavitt landing some leg kicks because Paddy Pimblett is very heavy on the lead leg, and Jordan Leavitt's best weapon is his leg kicks. But he doesn't have like super powerful leg kicks that are going to be a massive factor in the fight. I think he's just going to be peppering the legs of Paddy Pimblett. And I think each round, Paddy Pimblett is just going to land the more powerful strikes. And I think Jordan Leavitt is going to be looking for some takedowns in this fight. But I think Paddy Pimblett is just too big and too strong. I think Jordan Leavitt's kind of small for the weight class, to be honest. I think he could probably be at 145 pounds. You look at the two of them next to each other, recently, and Paddy Pimblett looks massive compared to Jordan Leavitt. So I have a hard time believing that Jordan Leavitt is going to be able to get the takedowns. And, also that leaves an opening. He spams takedowns in fights because his striking isn't that good. That leaves an opening for Paddy Pimblett just to assume top position and throw some ground and pound. And I think what this fight comes down to is the size and power of Paddy Pimblett. I think skill-wise, they're pretty close. But the power and the size and the strength of Paddy Pimblett is what will get this fight done for him. I think he's going to land the more powerful shots. I think he's going to bust up Jordan Leavitt. I think there's a chance that Paddy Pimblett maybe gets a second-round TKO as Jordan Leavitt gets a little bit more tired, as he starts looking for more takedowns. He is 100% going to be shooting on takedowns in this fight. And I think as he gets a little bit more tired, Paddy Pimblett could clip him badly. And Paddy Pimblett, one thing you can't say about him, he'll look for a finish. He's not a guy that's going to hurt a guy and then sit back and not look for the finish. If he hurts you and he smells blood, he will put the foot on the gas and he will swarm you looking for a finish with wild, crazy combinations that really leaves him susceptible to a counter. But I just don't think a guy like Jordan Leavitt can make him pay for it. There's really no power in any of Jordan Leavitt's strikes. And I think that's the type of guy right now that can beat Paddy Pimblett. Catch him coming in. I think this fight is going to be Paddy Pimblett busting him up for all 3 rounds. Jordan Leavitt's just going to be just good enough that he doesn't get finished, and is going to be spamming takedowns the entire fight. And I think Paddy Pimblett's going to look to make another statement in London and probably going to look for the finish via TKO. But I could also see Paddy Pimblett hurting him on the ground and potentially getting a rear naked choke. But I'm going my official prediction again, Paddy Pimblett by decision. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, and thank you so much for watching.